Team Liquid that is willing to experiment a bit more on the map. We've seen Zagara even played.
Yeah.
Wasn't a successful choice for Team Liquid, but it still shows that they are willing to experiment a little bit more with wave clear heroes that they're trying to bring into the situation.
And part of that reason was on that map, we didn't have Team Liquid get a turn-in for the first two slides, and that really hurt them. And that's become something that's become more standard. You pointed out last week, and it's become more apparent throughout the more matches we play. The first two turn-ins are super important.
But then again, Fnatic, or sorry, Team Liquid had a problem in the last time they played that they lost a crucial team fight. That was a bit of an issue that could have turned everything around. But now they're facing a very different beast. And they ban out Genji immediately. Huge playmaker, of course, for Fnatic here on the map. And Fnatic banning out Tassadar. So Tassadar overall has made his way back into a first pick, first ban position. And he, of course, offers so much more on Tomb of the Spider Queen because of the vision aspects that his trade gives you.
Now, Rhaegar will be the first pick here for multiple reasons. First off, in the last couple of matches, Uther and Auriel have been nerfed. Auriel, with this new patch, has her level 7 talent taken away, where she gets a cooldown reduction on her healing. So therefore, Fnatic just immediately moves into Rhaegar for the first pick. And Rhaegar is a hero that's been climbing for week after week after week in the last few weeks. Now, with these changes, he seems to be the #1.
Well, important to note here is that this is really map-specific. Rhaegar overall has seen a higher priority, but that he jumps to a first pick, that's normally only the case when you, A, focus highly on wave clear, and when you're playing on a map where you can potentially, with Rhaegar, head into that double support. And especially Tomb of the Spider Queen caters to both. We see a lot of fighting with double support happening, and wave clear is absolutely crucial here. That makes Rhaegar even better than on other maps.
Yeah.
But as you pointed out, with the nerfs to other supports, he has already risen in priority. But now with the added benefits of Tomb of the Spider Queen being the map, that justifies the first pick for him.
And my question is now, where do we see Stukov? Will Stukov become that hero that jumps up with these other heroes getting nerfed? We've already seen him getting mixed in left and right between teams, and with the multiple builds he has available for them, he's a great support that can be fitted into great compositions.
Yeah, he can be extremely powerful thanks to the silence in particular, and on this map this is something else that is extremely valuable. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see an ETC pick pretty early for Fnatic here. Hero has risen a lot, and Team Liquid actually opted for Stitches over ETC. We've seen ETC even go into a ban position. But Greymane, as the first pick for them, is also, of course, once again catering to the versatility Hero has. You're very good at sniping, so whenever Stitches hits that hook, you are there and you can just immediately jump on the target. And at the same time, you're also looking at a hero that has that wave clear potential, so very flexible. And as expected, we have ETC taken, and Fnatic rounds it up with a Vala, so now with Rhaegar already taken, they can always decide which path they want to go down. Do they want to have the second support, or do they just play a different game with a double damage dealer?
Yeah, Fnatic's been favoring the Vala as of late. You have multiple builds that you can run into that are helpful in different scenarios. Multi-shot for wave clear, Hungering Arrow if you want to burn down single target DPS, but we also saw them go into Heart Pursuit into Hungering Arrow afterwards, which gives a little bit more mobility and flexibility for Quacknings to allow his teammates to set up for fights and for him to poke from the side. So Vala is becoming a little bit more of their old Greymane, if you will. They've been playing it a little bit more as of late, and especially with Greymane being picked up by Team Liquid. Vala's a good shoe-in.
In some of the scrims I've been watching, not necessarily of the two teams that we see here, I've seen Vala jump back into a first pick position. On this map, I would be quite surprised to not see her go straight for a multi-shot build, since normally on Tomb of the Spider Queen you prioritize wave clear a little bit higher than you would do on other maps. So an arrow build would quite surprise me and would already show that Fnatic is trying a different approach with their aggression. But at least for now, I'm still assuming multi-shot. Medivh being banned out is actually starting to become extremely common in Europe, and especially when you're going against Expert, that has always been a trend. But with Fnatic last week, for example, showing up with Shrimpy excelling on Medivh and completely destroying the opponent's team, Medivh is just that utility hero that you can throw into a good position, into a good composition to make it even more scary.
Medivh, one of those heroes that across all regions, teams are really getting much better at utilizing his ability to jump into fights, disengage, the force of will to stop any burst from coming out. Medivh is a hero, man, that you look at when he's played well and you wonder, how does that hero even get by a lot of teams of not being banned out? He can be incredible.
Yeah. And of course, especially when you can combo him off with a Diablo, which in this case you probably are not going to see. But even Leyline Seal into an ETC mosh pit is absolutely fantastic. You don't need that Apocalypse if you have another AoE that can really just benefit from that setup. So this is definitely something that we have to watch out for. Fnatic banning out Kel'Thas, and we have seen a little bit more mage play recently, and Kel'Thas on this map has also made a slight resurgence. The added benefit of Kel'Thas, for Team Liquid in particular here, is of course the follow-up Gravity Labs after Stitches hook.
Yeah, exactly. It's between Uther and KT that you normally see mixed with that Stitches, with Uther getting nerfed recently and you having a hero like Vol that can poke them down and maybe get to a point where his mana gets drained out. You don't mind actually fighting into that. KT is an obvious ban here for Fnatic. If you're trying to figure out what exactly makes sense with Stitches, you always want those follow-ups that can come in and make sure his hook can be more effective.
Also, keep in mind that at this point when we are looking at Stitches and in general also like they still need some follow-up outside of Greymane. So with Kel'Thas the Gravity Labs would be great, but also the burst damage that he can provide is quite strong here. So it's a good ban for Fnatic. Team Liquid has shown plays with him, but for now we're seeing them with Malthael and with Uther. Haven't seen an Anubarak yet. Mentioning it because Tormented Souls gets cancelled so nicely with Anubarak's web. To an extent where I am still shocked that we don't see more last rites attempts, at least, when Anubarak is facing off against the Malthael. It's actually a topic that I discussed with some of the players, and this weird interaction where Anubarak usually waits with the cocoon until Malthael jumps in and activates his own ult. Basically, everyone that I talk to agrees that in this case, for Malthael, it's just not worth activating the ult if Cocoon is still available. And that would make a huge argument in favor of Last Rites, which of course also forces you to adapt your playstyle and plan it from the get-go, not a on-the-spot adjustment just because.
Yeah. I've heard of some single-target DPS type builds for Malthael that have been ran and have had success in Hero League and such, but I want to see teams actually run it.
I've seen scrims with Last Rites,
yeah,
but that was more testing the water, seeing how it can work and if there's a place for it. It's just that weird interaction with Malthael and Anubarak overall. But for this game, it doesn't make a difference since we have now Gul'dan taken for Fnatic and Malfurion. And especially the Gul'dan pick is interesting since it is extremely strong for the map. But Fnatic is not the team that is really known to run Gul'dan.
Yeah.
So that's something that they've started to pick up lately a little bit more. But traditionally, they are not the team to emphasize him too highly.
Yeah, it's usually tricked esports if we do see Gul'dan picked up. But
Dignitas,
here, Dignitas as well. Here, it's all about wave clear for Fnatic. They want to make sure that they can clear out their waves. They have both Rhaegar and Malfurion, which are the supports that you'll run into that will clear out those waves if need be.
Now, here's the thing though. With what Fnatic has already, Team Liquid is going to be heavily pressured around the objective. We have interrupts from Gul'dan, Malfurion, and from Vala, quite easy interrupts. And for Team Liquid to get turn-ins is not going to be easy, especially Malfurion can just moonfire them 6 days a Sunday, sit tight from the outside. If you go Loon's Grace here, you have the extra range. So there's a lot of arguments to be made for Fnatic being very disruptive around the turn-in. And the Chromie pickup that we're now seeing for Team Liquid allows them at least to cater a bit towards the same goal and saying, okay, we're going to make it a little bit more difficult for you to get that safe turn-in that you want.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried that it'll be hard for Chromie to be effective with their poke because of both Malfurion and Rhaegar being on the field. You can kind of mitigate that damage pretty heavily and allow Vol to get aggressive. The good thing here for Team Liquid is they have Greymane here, which is that one hero that, if you're wanting to dive forward, sometimes can put a second question mark above that dive because he can put out damage pretty quickly.
To be absolutely honest, I think Team Liquid got absolutely wrecked in this draft. And I think it's going to be horrible for them because they have everything that they do relies on a hook. Since if you think about their engage potential, like think for a second how they are going to engage into a fight. They're either going to do that with Greymane moving in or with Malthael. Everything else would rely on a hook. What do we see on the side of Fnatic? We have a Horrify after level 10. We have an ETC to control them, also to push them back. And we have Malfurion with Silence. So whenever Greymane or Malthael goes in deep, you engage into a Horrify, into a Silence, and that makes it nearly impossible. Unless Fnatic screws up in these engagements, they have an easy time to either isolate Greymane or Malthael and get an insta-kill against them. And even if they are on cooldown, you still have ETC that can just push everyone back. So the utility aspect on the side of Fnatic is insane. For Liquid to really get ahead here, I think they need to make sure that they dominate the early game, get their turn-ins, and they need to land hooks and have a follow-up. If they fail on that, I don't think they have any chance of winning this.
Well, we'll see if they can land those hooks. It's time to go ahead and start game number 1 here in our best of 5 series. Team Liquid versus Fnatic. We're going to Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. To the left, Splendor for Team Liquid on Uther. We have Hazops in this first game of the best of 5 series on Greymane. Blumby playing Stitches. It's Darkmok on Malthael. And last but not least, Norok on Chromie.
To the right, in the red, it will be Fnatic. Breeze playing ETC, Schwimpy on Vala, Wubby on Rhaegar, Quacknix on Gul'dan, Smexy on Malfurion, and we have a pause here. We'll be hopping back in a second here. Going to go ahead and wait for the ping to reside. It looks like we're having some ping issues for our teams.
And now just to immediately talk a little bit about what we're seeing. If you paid attention to who plays which hero, you have immediately picked up on Schwimpy being this time on Vala, whereas Quacknix, who usually plays the auto attacker, is playing Gul'dan. So that's already a little bit of... I mean, he has played Gul'dan in the past, don't get me wrong, but normally Quacknix is the one who plays the auto attacker, and Schwimpy, if a mage is being played, is going to be found on the mage hero, which in this case is a slight adjustment. It's something that they practiced, and they still have a bit of an overlap in the hero pool that they can utilize, but that has become a little bit more standard for them to just see where can we maybe bring a hero in that we haven't focused on this heavily in the past, and how can we deal with it. And as I mentioned before, Gul'dan in particular, together with Malfurion, is going to be very crucial whenever Team Liquid tries to engage into a 5 versus 5 team fight and doesn't rely on the hook. So Quacknix has to be on point with Horrify here.
At the same time, you have Rhaegar here playing the Wubby, or Wubby playing the Rhaegar here. So we'll be watching him play
both ways. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, it could go that way, you know. Rhaegar kind of controlling Wubby around. It explains why he's so darn good at the game. Yeah, so we have Rhaegar being played by Wubby, so let's go ahead and get that out there. We're going to watch him as he tries to sit on that side lane and soak in, which is Rhaegar is a great hero to do just that, being able to sit on your own side. He does pretty well in lane matchups at the same time. He clears waves, has decent damage with his bite, and can trade pretty effectively if you know how to handle your heal cooldowns and, of course, your lightning shield. Yeah,
and of course you have your self-sustain available too, so that makes the whole thing a little bit easier for them. But this is definitely something that is going to be really crucial now for the game. And Liquid, again, they have to try and control these turn-ins, and they have to rely on these hooks. The cool thing is, if they time it right, if they land the hook and Uther is there for the follow-up, then they only need to get the combo in from Chromie, get the Greymane, or get Greymane damage in, and they should be able to get kills here. Since Malfurion's heal over time is not going to do anything in these scenarios, and at the same time, Rhaegar, of course, has a little bit of burst heal, but still. The one problem, of course, is that we have cleanse available, so you can cleanse out a certain amount of hooks. You can always try to just shield everyone with ETC, but overall, with that high priority on Team Liquid picking Stitches in the first rotation, you can already tell that this is kind of the idea that they have. Yeah. Stitches offers them wave clear. That's already good. He has the AoE damage, but you're also in a spot where he can just like go and get the hook, and then you get the isolation kill, and that's what they're hoping for.
I'm on the same boat with you. If the early game is good here for Team Liquid, I see their mid game being phenomenal. They have great poke from Chromie, which will be mitigated slightly by Malfurion's healing, but once you get momentum going, you get the map opened up, Chromie becomes much better. Greymane then suddenly can follow up on her attacks, go in for those engages and get those kills. I think it could work out for Team Liquid, but I agree. The first 3 to 4 minutes are instrumental. They have to get those turn-ins in and make sure their opponents are on the back foot. And if they are able to get a 2 to 3 level lead, Chromie becomes a menace.
Now, 2 level leads would only come into play, I think, if they get the double turn in. And that's where I see one of the problems. I don't think you can make that happen because both sides have so much poke and interrupts that we are going to see a very late second turn in compared to what we usually have, especially with Malfurion.
Let's do it.
Game's on, so let's jump straight into our first game of the Best of 5 series on Tomb of the Spider Queen, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, Fnatic and Team Liquid, super important match for both of them. Liquid starting to fall in the standings, whereas Fnatic, on the other hand, one has their eyes set on the HGC finals at BlizzCon. They want to qualify directly, which means they have to reach one of the top 2 spots in the standings. And so far, they're doing a really good job of establishing them all the way up at the pole position.
Yeah, they're getting closer. I believe they have a 2-game lead over the second place position. So Fnatic definitely wanting to get another victory here, but Team Liquid has to be careful. They were a team that came into this season wanting to go to BlizzCon, and right now they're in a spot where they have to seriously consider that maybe they could fall under the Crucible, which is crazy to say.
It definitely is. So keep in mind that in this game, once again, once level 10 starts, Team Liquid is going to have a very rough time engaging into Fnatic, since Fnatic will have the silence on the side of Malfurion with his level 10, and also on Gul'dan we will see Horrify. So whoever engages into Fnatic's setup, either it being Malthael or Greymane, is probably going to be isolated quite quickly and taken out. This is where Stitches comes into play for Team Liquid. They need the poke from Chromie and the good hooks from Stitches to really isolate targets and take them apart.
When that Horrify does come online, Uther has to be in a position to either land the cleanse that he may pick up there, or the Divine Shield to make sure that Malthael can stay alive, turn around, and try to punish with that Reaper's Mark. Team Liquid so far doing an okay job of controlling their lanes. They're putting Greymane, Stitches, and Uther in the middle and the top. This is just to allow for them to at least fight back against Fnatic, while they put Chromie in the bottom actually against Malthael. And this is becoming more standard on Tuma Spider Queen. 2-on-2 in the bottom lane. It allows for you to keep up the poke, but also to find an advantage and move in for the turrets.
Yeah, also keep in mind when we're talking about the advantage here is that oftentimes you're trying to get an advantage through the objective. And both sides have very good interrupts now against turn-ins. Chromie, of course, with her poke is quite nice on the side of Liquid to make sure that Fnatic doesn't get an easy turn in here. But Fnatic has a couple of heroes themselves that do really well in that setup. Gul'dan being one of them, but we're also talking, of course, about the Moonburn on Malfurion. This is actually one of the reasons why his utility talents give him such a nice value on this map.
Same time. Push is coming out of the bottom as Blumby was looking for a hook. Missed out on it. Notice how Chromie is constantly trying to put pressure on that Vola on the back. This naturally makes Schwimpy hang backwards on that Vola, which puts Rehgar a little bit forward. If there's ever a spot where Rehgar does move in to trade out against that Malthael or the Chromies, the Bronze Talons comes into effect. You're able to utilize that, put out the damage, put a time trap in a bush, run towards it and anchor it up. Allows for you to have good trades.
Also, we're having prop rock taken for Breeze on ETC as the level 1 talent, so more or less they have 3 healers now in the game. Super easy for ETC to get the Gathering Globes, to get the Regeneration Globes together.
Yeah.
On this map, since the rotations between the lanes are so short that Breeze can easily just complete wave after wave with the rest of the team. Which is oftentimes the main reason why you're going into that rotation between mid and top in the first place. And thanks to the double setup that you've been pointing out earlier, there's also now a lot of aggression towards the camp. Liquid sees it and wants to fight, but I'm not quite sure if they can do it, especially with Breeze now moving in and Malthael already down before ETC even arrives at the scene.
Yeah, I don't know about that, and it feels like Team Liquid may have been second-guessing themselves now as the Giants do get grabbed up. The thing is in order to open that up, Vola needs to be weak. Chromie needs to be able to hit a combo that is a decent Dragon's Breath into a Sandblast and get someone low, and that makes Rehgar become a vulnerable target to Malthael. But they were much more healthy in that fight and had already cleared the Giants. A bit too aggressive, and they missed out on the ETC coming in, and Team Liquid is now hurting. Yeah,
they are starting to be in a bit of an awkward spot, but they defend nicely against the Siege Giants so far. They lose ammunition on the towers on the other hand, and they are very heavily pressured here at the front wall, to an extent that Hazops even has to stop by to help out for a moment. And of course, at this point in time, we have 44 gems already turned in by Fnatic. This is the time window that they could use while Liquid dealt with the bot lane. They turned in up at the top.
Only need 6 more gems to get that turned in at around level 7 so far. Fnatic and crew will now fight, and Chromie just gets picked off immediately here. Swimpy turns around, brings auto attacks on Darkmok. With Hasselhoff being around the corner, they're going to have to play careful and pull away.
Yeah, Schwimpy today on the auto attacker here, whereas Gul'dan has been played by Quacknix, and so far Schwimpy is doing really well. A lot of work there at the bot lane, 2nd kill for him already. And in the meantime, the fight for the turn-in starts. But, well, at this point, we're already going for Blumby, and that might be the end of Stitches. Indeed it is. Splendor trying to get the gems together and is able to move out. But it highlights again what I was talking about a bit earlier. The turn-ins right now for Fnatic, they're going through, but we are definitely going to see a late 2nd turn-in here. But it's all about that potential level 10. And with Fnatic already having more or less a level lead, they're looking really good for the 2nd turn-in.
Especially with how well they've done in the lane on the bottom side. They've already got the turrets opened up. They grabbed that for the easy experience. The Web Weavers will start to push in and damage the fort now. So they can put their attention toward different lanes. They can come to the middle side, work on those turrets, look for more pickoffs because they have ETC, who is great around engaging. And here we are with Quacknix in the middle, already working on clearing the minions up. They'll easily grab turrets, and they just jump in experience.
Yeah, towers are already out of ammunition, so Fnatic is going to get so much value out of the turn-in. There is no doubt. Down to the bot lane, they might even get the fort, but in the meantime, the wall in the middle has been destroyed. And just look how they are picking up experience here. They're already working towards level 10. Wouldn't shock me at all if they hit 10 by the time that the Web Weavers are defeated, especially with that kill against Haz. Well,
ooh,
barely
nice. Gets away there.
I did not think he would be able to get out of this one.
Yeah, dodging out in the power slide, and Breeze being hit by the fort, slowing him just enough to stop it.
At the same time, with him, he didn't die, which is great, because they still get those 19 gems that he has, but they still lost his position at the top, and that means that that fort is down. So Fnatic has reached level 10 just with the first turn-in, which is insane. And right now, just look at this engage potential on the side of Fnatic. It has basically dropped to 0 because of the Twilight Dream and the Horrify as an immediate answer whenever someone on Team Liquid lineups jumps into Fnatic. And for Fnatic now, they can jump behind forts without any trouble whatsoever. They have a double support to sustain them through fights, and with everything they have, one Horrify is all you need to get an early kill.
Man, I am quite scared here for Team Liquid. They need to soak an entire level, but also stop their opponents from turning in, and they're working on the gems right now. They'll need a few more to get that turn in, but still, Fnatic in a large lead. They are pushing buttons right now. They're sitting up on the bottom side.
And it comes down to what I said at the end of the draft. I really think Fnatic outdrafted Team Liquid hard on this particular map. Since there's just no way for Team Liquid outside of a good hook to engage in any kind of meaningful battle, and the interrupt potential of Fnatic was too strong. So with this early game, exactly that situation is now unfolding in front of us. Team Liquid is suffering hard because their draft just can't keep up with Fnatic at this point. They have to get level 10, and then they need to try and get that isolation kill so that they can force a 5 versus 4 fight in their favor, and then maybe regain some of the momentum they lost.
I do like what Hasselhoffs did there, though. He feinted as if he wanted to go for a turn-in, which made some members of Fnatic come up to look for an engage, but that allowed Malfield to soak the entire lane bottom, which allowed them to get closer to level 10. And now, when that 10 does hit, they might be able to slow down Fnatic and force a fight here, and this might be the moment for them. They're going to go for it, do or die, get a kill or two on their opponents, or get a turn-in.
Yeah, Fnatic did not get the turn-in. Nice cleanse. Perfect from Whoopi. That was extremely well done here. Kudos to him, big shout out. That could have been a kill in favor of Team Liquid, but Fnatic shutting it down early. They failed to get their second turn in though, and that was a bit of a misstep by Fnatic themselves. They allowed Team Liquid to fight for it.
Hook is up, it gets it, gonna land on Wubby, engage comes out, but Breeze turns around with the 4-man mosh pit, and people just get slayed here as Fnatic walks forward and takes out 4 members of Team Liquid.
Get wrecked. They just lost all of their gems. The perfect mosh pit by Breeze. The hook comes in. Liquid clusters as they try to get the kill against Rhaegar. And then Breeze sees the opportunity, slides in, gets the 4-man mosh pit, and they just destroy everybody. Now, Liquid just lost not only 4 heroes, they lost experience. They also lost, of course, all the gems that they had at this point. And that just propels Fnatic not only towards the level 13, but to a massive 3-level lead only 8 minutes into the game.
This game has gone from rough to almost impossible, it feels like now. 13 to level 10, a turn-in does come in for Fnatic, and at 9 minutes in the game, they are looking for keeps. They're pushing forward on the middle and the bottom side already, clearing out the top wave too so they can work on those keep walls.
Yeah, and I mean, as we said, every single fort is down, as a lot of experience was taken, 7 kills against 0. Fnatic right now also with Gloom on Vala, which is going to make Shrimpy a lot safer against the Chromie poke that we are seeing here. Ice Block also being used by Malfurions. That's another big tool that they can utilize whenever he is in trouble, and allows Rhaegar, of course, to have a little bit more time to heal him up. But at this point, as we said, Fnatic is already knocking on the doors of the keep, and this is just a rough time. I would be shocked if Team Liquid will be able to hold on to their keeps here again.
I mean, even engaging gets harder with that mic check being available for Breeze. Already they have amazing control, but that second knockback coming in becomes very difficult for you to get on a target. If you're ETC, you walk towards your assassin, you drop down the W. Hang on though, they're going to drop a power slide. They come in for Stitches. He falls down to half health. The Divine Shield will be used. Breeze is low, but Wubby with the Ancestral Heal will keep him alive. Hook comes out, but so does the Horrified.
Yeah, Horrified didn't really get quite the value that they wanted. No isolation happening. But let's not forget that that Divine Shield was not quite what you want. Darmok might still fall here, and so could Whoopi. First kill against Malthael, and Blumby is really low, and that's the death of Stitches right there. Good job by Fnatic. Divine Shield on Stitches meant that you can't use it for Malthael, you can't use it for Greymane, but Splendor had to do it just to keep him alive a bit longer, and now Fnatic is spotting still a 3.5 level lead. They took the first keep down, and this is just them completely dominating this first map in the series.
Fnatic moves on towards the boss, but Shrimpy just showed there why Hot Pursuit can be so great. He turned around and got a few auto attacks to get his Hot Pursuit moving so he get that additional movement speed, then popped a Strafe, and that allowed for them to chase Malthael down. Had it not been for the Hot Pursuit, Malthael would have been able to escape from the fight. So little things like that showing why you need to get those stacks moving in, that hatred moving forward so you can chase your opponents.
Yeah, and at this point now, Liquid, it's getting rough for them, for sure. They have to defend against the boss. Mid lane is already pressuring. And right now, it's just all about trying to defend the top keep, and I'm not sure if they can really make it work. The boss is an early one, so it didn't scale too hard yet, and the Web Weavers are coming into play for Team Liquid. that will help them with the defense and push the rest of the lanes out. But this boss, it means business, and they are going in once again. So this is looking already horrible. Here comes an immediate route on the side of Malfurion, trying to lock Lumbi down. Has orbs, also on the run as the keep falls.
Breeze once again, when a hook comes out, immediately turns around the power slide and forces an engage, which makes it harder for Team Liquid to follow up that hook and go for the fight, especially being at a level disadvantage. Keep falls easily, Fnatic pulls back, has a forward level lead, and now they can turn their attention to clearing Web Weavers, which was the only hope for Team Liquid to stay in this game.
Yeah, Team Liquid was just trying to push this lane a little bit back, but they can't really do much. This is a Hail Mary attempt that they have. Again, the Divine Shield on Stitches. It's not what you want. Horrify comes in after the hook connects, saving Whoopi. Darkmork is attempting to jump into that back lane, but he's already getting poked down, and Breeze is just zoning for the rest of the team. Always ready for another mic check, and even the slide.
Power slide goes in. Gonna have Malfield taking damage here. Darkmark's getting low. The attack's coming out. Here's gonna be the strafe as Schwimpy is uncontested. There goes Malfield. Blumby's the next target. Wubby gets the bite. Splendor hoping to retreat, but Schwimpy and Breeze are chasing.
And ETC not even using the mosh pit here. Breeze probably trying to get one in just for fun, but at this point, they already know that this is impossible for Team Liquid to turn around. 13 versus 17, and Fnatic is on the core as we are seeing them dominate game number 1 with 12 kills to 0. Making it happen easily and taking the lead in the series.
Fnatic gets the 1-0 so far here in this best-of-5 series, and boy, did they look good on Tuma Spider Queen. But I think it did come down again, as you mentioned, to the draft. There just wasn't moments here for Team Liquid to get their comeback. There was one hook in particular that I think could have changed the tides of battle, but the cleanse from Wubby saving Fnatic and allowing them to turn around and force a fight and get a turn in just really allowed for this game to just push forward.
There's just too many tools for Fnatic.